Oh, hey there, guys. Happy February Tuesday. Okay, I am sorry. This is not the video that's supposed to be up on my channel today. This isn't what I intended to happen, and it hurts me a little bit right here because today's video was so special. It's probably the most special thing that I was going to share with you for the long. No, it wasn't. It was just another episode of BioShock. But yes, I totally lied about that. But I wanted to explain something. This will be, I guess, an educational video for you guys. I'm just barely gonna edit. I'm just gonna throw in some music and then I'll just throw this up. But now and then you will hear me. You'll see there'll be a couple every little now and then, like maybe 3 days of videos that aren't there. And I'll come back later, or I'll get on Twitter and I'll say, I'm sick, can't make videos right now. And most of you guys are like, hey, think of your health, it's cool. You guys are like the most forgiving audience ever because you're like, no, you think about you, and don't worry about other things. You will come back when you can, but think of you. Well, so I was gonna make this sort of an educational thing. Because when I say that I'm sick, it's usually because it's too complicated for me to explain, but I'm going to explain it now. And fact is, well, sometimes, not very often, just like this, about this percentage of time, I actually do get sick. I get something, a cold or a COVID or something like that, and I'll stay out for a little while. But most of the time, when I get sick, it's got something to do with my leg. Some of you may know a lot about this. By some of you, I know you know a lot about this. Some of you know a little bit about it, and some of you are like, I don't know what in the fuck you talking about. Okay, this is for the last two. There is this thing in the world, and I didn't even know what it was until I went to the doctor, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? And they're like, you have gout. And I'm like, but isn't that shit that like pirates get and people on ships and stuff? I had no idea what it was. But apparently anyone can get it. Not everyone's likely to, but if you're a male and you're male of my age, you have a stronger chance of having it. So that's a thing. Now I'll explain the gout. Gout is when acid, and I'm not kidding, acid turns into crystals in your like muscle and sinews and tissues, usually in your feet. Sometimes it can happen in your elbows, sometimes in your knees, but it's usually in your feet. It is, and if you look up, it's G-O-U-T, it is literally one of the most painful things that can happen to you in your life. The first time I had it, I did not know that the brain was capable of sensing that much pain. I didn't know it was possible. If you wind up going to the hospital like I did with gout, not knowing what it is, they will send you out of there with the same medication, the same pain meds that they send out, people who were just rescued from a house fire. They literally will give you the strong stuff for gout because it's pretty serious pain. Now, here's the thing. It's a very old disease. It's been around forever. And a lot of people, it's not there all the time. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's not there at all. Sometimes it happens a little bit, and you're like, oh, it's a little bit. And then it's just a pain in the butt. But then sometimes you get a really strong attack of it, and it'll swell your foot up like a football, and you're walking around, and you look like a zombie, and eventually, well, actually, a lot of the time, when you have a really strong attack of it, you can't stand up. You just can't stand up. There's no way. I mean, even just putting your foot on the floor that's too painful. You can't do it. You just kind of have to hold it off and just let it float somewhere. And even that still hurts. A lot of people have had, if you can look this up online and you'll see it described by a lot of people that say that when they have a gout attack, the weight of a bed sheet on the foot is too painful. They can't have that. They got to pull it off. That's how bad it is. One time I was dumb, but that happens. I was having gout attack and I crawled into the shower, and one drop of water fell from the shower head and landed on my foot. I'd have rather been shot. I mean, that hurt so bad. So sometimes gout happens. It happens. Usually it's not that bad. And even when gout happens, I can still do my work. I can still sit here, and I've done it lots of times. I've recorded plenty of games and plenty of videos with my foot sitting there hurting a bit, and it's like, well, I'll just ignore it. Okay, so that's one thing. It only happens, I think I only get like a major, gout thing happen like, maybe a few times a year, like 2 or 3 times a year. Well, here's part 2. I also have a thing called vascular necrosis. Now, when I went and I asked them about, gout, they had tons of explanations about how gout happens and and even the doctor who was describing it to me, the doctor even said this. He said, okay, imagine if I cut your foot open, tossed in a handful of sand, and then sewed it back up. That's how he described what gout feels like, but he was a little bit wrong because he forgot that the sand is also made out of acid. So if you can imagine that, that's what gout feels like. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But now here I am asking, now they're like, well, you got vascular necrosis. So I'm like, okay, what is that? And I asked lots of doctors this. I'm like, what is vascular necrosis? And I knew the word necro didn't sound good to me, and it turns out it's not. And they would say, they always had one question. They're like, do you have diabetes? And I would say, no, I don't. They're like, oh, okay. And then they'd move on about testing me or doing something or whatever. And all the doctors would do that. There was, do you have diabetes? No, I don't have diabetes. The last one did the same thing. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, why does that, excuse me, doctor, educate my face. Why do doctors keep doing that? Why do they keep, I go, do you have, diabetes? No. Oh, okay, so if I don't have diabetes, obviously there's another big explanation, and there's only 2 of them. So what is it that caused me to have vascular necrosis? And they said, oh, the other one. I'm like, yeah, I want to know the other one. They're like, oh, we don't know. Really? So apparently in about 25% of the cases of vascular necrosis, it's because you had diabetes. And the other 75% of the cases, they have no idea. They don't know. So, don't know how I got it, but what it is basically what it sounds like. For some reason, during my time on this earth, the blood that goes to my hip bone got reduced. And it got reduced so much that my hip died. It's vascular necrosis in your hip is zombie hip. That is what I have. I have a zombie hip. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. That's why I limp everywhere. So setting this up for you, just for when I say I'm sick, you'll know what I'm talking about. And by the way, when people, I tell them I have gout and I describe it to them, they'll go, "Oh, here, please have a blowjob." And I'm, no, it's okay. And then I tell them about my zombie hip. And, "Oh, please have a blowjob." No, it's okay. But what it is, so I've just got a rotting hip, and that's gonna have to be replaced sometime. But sometimes, and every now and then, doesn't happen often, maybe a couple times a year. The hip hurts all the time, but some days it hurts a lot. It hurts so much that I can barely stand up. Now and then, the gout will happen at the same time that the hip will get all pissy, and I am then a pile of dirt on the floor. That's it. And I can't do anything else. I can't move. I can crawl on one leg. And when people hear that, they're like, please have this blowjob. And no, it's okay, because I've got this. There's a pill. Now, that pill, you're sitting there thinking, oh, he's got the good stuff. No, this isn't the good stuff. But it does help. So when I wind up in that stage where I can't even move, I can occasionally still pull myself up in my chair, but to actually reduce the swelling and the thing that's going on in my leg so that I can feel better, I have to take these. Now, here's where the problem comes in. These, they work really well, but they knock me on my ass. Just like 12, 16 hours at a time, bam. And if I'm gonna get rid of it, I usually have to do it for like a few days. So that's me just like spending 4 hours awake a day for 3 days or so. And I just had this. That's why there's not a game today. I had a problem with my leg. I had literally the gout and the vascular necrosis at the same time. I started taking these, and because of that, I've been passed out for like 3 days pretty much. And last night was the night that I should have actually recorded more games for this week. Couldn't do it, was knocked out. So, that is your educational time for today. Whenever you hear me just say I'm sick, it usually means that all of that came together at once, and I'm having to take these, and they're knocking me out. And because of that, some videos may not get made for a little bit. Now, I'm over this now. I took these for a few days. It's still a bit sore, but not so sore that I need these anymore. So, I'm gonna be able to record tonight, so tomorrow, the video should start back up and everything should be fine. And I've got a good one for you tomorrow too. You're gonna like it, especially if you like analog horror. If you like analog horror, you're gonna love the game I do tomorrow. But, because analog horror, look it up after this video. Type in analog horror. Look it up. It's amazing. Good stuff. But yeah. So I'm feeling better now. Usually, if I'm sick for some other like sick reasons, like actually sick, I'll say I'm sick. Something's wrong with my stomach. That happens sometimes. Or I'll say I'm sick. I've got a cold. But if I just say I'm sick and I can't make videos for a little while, and I don't really explain why, look, this took me about 15 minutes to explain this. This is why I don't explain it, because it's a little bit complicated. But that is the reason that there was no usual BioShock video today. However, everything's going to pick up tomorrow. And besides that, I wanted to say, you know, happy February. Happy February to all you guys. I wanted you to see my new shirt. Let's see. It's cool. I thought it was neat anyway. I don't know if it actually is, but I'm gonna pretend it is. So anyway, I'll do this because I know you guys are gonna ask some questions, and I'll just answer the most common ones that I remember. Is there any permanent way to fix gout? No, there is not. They say, and they have different views on this, that if you balance your eating, sometimes it's the things that you eat that can cause it more. and it's only with some people, and some people it's not. So if you mess with your eating, then you might fix it. And the first two things you're gonna have to do is never drink alcohol and never eat meat. And I'm like, no, no, I will die with a fat, swollen foot before I will stop eating meat. That is just not gonna happen. So it's pills for that for, I guess, forever until they come up with a better pill. The other thing is about vascular necrosis. Is there any way to fix that? Yes, there is. And there's only one way to fix that, and that is to have it replaced. Now, I haven't done that yet, and the reason I haven't done that yet is because I'm really nervous about the recovery. I think it's going to take a long time. Like, it's going to take like a month for me to get back to work again. So what I want to do is I want to schedule this thing ahead of time. I want to make a bunch of videos like for a whole month, so that by the time I can get back in the chair and record again, you guys won't have missed anything. So, and there's also a bunch of stuff that I need to get for recovery. So I've kind of been putting that off. But yeah, I'm going to be a cyborg bird. Probably coming this year, I'm going to be a cyborg bird. So any future fan art, make sure that, you know, you draw me as this nice griffin, but give me one badass looking robot leg, and that'll be it. But anyway, yeah, that's let's see, what else? Other questions. Those are the two main ones that people ask, or the three, is that you know, can you heal the gout, and can you heal the leg, and are you going to actually heal the leg? And the answer to that is yes, I am. So if you have any other questions about any of this, let me know. I'll try to answer them best I can. But happy February. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I guess for tonight, the rest of the night, I'm just going to chill out. So thanks for listening to this little vlog of mine, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.